The Thriving Solopreneur, how to nurture your business in just 4 hours a week. Maybe you have dreams of being bigger than a solopreneur, or maybe you're not even a solopreneur, and like me, you have people working with you, for you, or all around you. But even so, maybe you find yourself working more than 4 hours a week. Well, tonight, our guest expert, Janine Bolon, a serial solopreneur, joins us here on Entrepreneurship is a Marathon to share with you and show you a new paradigm in your time management that will put you in front of more people a week, while you keep a steady stream of new prospects flowing and have a high quality life in the process. Yes, I know you're ready. Get your notepads ready. Okay. Well, before we get into optimizing your 4 hours and becoming a thriving solopreneur, I know some of you perhaps are probably new. So first, I'll do a little introduction. Then we're going to go into Janine and the show and all the things. But first off, hello, everyone. My name is Vanessa Zammy, and I am the business defibrillator. My clients call me that because I help and consult entrepreneurs and micro enterprises on how to revive, grow, and scale their business without the overwhelm and without the burnout. And you are listening to Entrepreneurship is a Marathon, a weekly live show every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. And as always, in every episode, we ask the question, what has been your win of the week? Yes, you might be saying, but Vanessa, it's only Tuesday. That's okay. What is a week? A week is 7 days. So what has been your win of the past 7 days? Yes, type it in the comments and let us know what has been your win of the week. So if you're watching on YouTube, then you scroll down, you hit the subscribe button, and then after that, you scroll down a little bit more and you type it in the chat. Yes, if you're watching on LinkedIn, then you are typing to the right of your screen. If you're watching on Facebook, then depending whether or not you're mobile or desktop, you'll figure it out. I know you're smart people. And then also feel free to react and comment as well too, so more people have the opportunity to see more of Janine's message tonight on how you can ensure that your business is only taking up maximum 4 hours a week of your time. Yes, that's what we're going into this evening. But Janine, what has been your win of the week?
My win of the week already has been that I landed a $25,000 contract that I had been waiting on for about 4 months. And so I was like, woo, doing the Snoopy happy dance. Yeah.
Money,
Yeah.
woo, woo,
Am I the only one that does the Snoopy happy dance when I get a contract like that? So, you work and you work and you work for 3 or 4 months, and then it finally comes through. And then you're like, okay, that's done. Now we can move forward with the stuff that you really want to do, the mission, the message that you really want to put out there. It's always so exciting when it happens.
Yes, but you also have to remember to sit in the win, right? You have to acknowledge the win before you move on. Take a moment, right? Praise yourself, do what you got to do the dance, right? Sit in that dance, and then you move on, right? And that's why we take the time out of every episode here. What has been your win of the week? So even if you're watching a replay or you're listening to this podcast, whenever you were listening to this podcast, sometime in the future, then by all means, remember what has been your win of the past 7 days, and feel free to share with us here. Entrepreneurship is a Marathon. Oh, my win of the week has been that, so we finally completed the grant. We didn't get the grant yet. We don't know yet. We worked for a couple of months, but we completed the grant application for a project that we have coming up for our business. And so it's a new thing that we are doing. Well, an enhanced old new thing. It's an enhanced version of what we're doing to ensure that we are fostering even more of the community and helping even more businesses out there. And we are just so excited to get support on this. So it's really amazing. So yes, if you know of any businesses or foundations, shameless plug, who advocate for community development, then by all means, send them our way too. But besides the point, back to the show. Why are you here? Why are you here? You are here to hear about how to nurture your business in just 4 hours a week. So first, the obligatory bio, because you're probably like, who is Janine? So our guest expert, Janine Bolon, has been a serial solopreneur since the age of 10. 10, yes. She's the owner of the 8 Gates LLC, which produces 4 podcast programs, a radio show, 15 online coaching classes, and markets 12 of her books. 12 of her books. After working in the pharmaceutical industry for 15 years, Janine dropped out of corporate America to homeschool her 4 children. And that's when the journey continued for her solopreneur career. Her solopreneur skill helped her along the way. And as I mentioned earlier, Janine's 12 books, 15 online courses, 4 podcast programs, and syndicated radio show just all express her desire to share her systems and routines with others. And she's here this evening to share with us her journey. So Janine, my first question, how did you come to get your business to just 4 hours a week? Now I'm assuming it's like 4 hours per business because we have a lot of businesses, but let us know.
Yeah, no problem. One of the things I wanted to share with you is I started off the very first business that I owned where I really was like, oh my gosh, I'm a business owner. And I wasn't just a hobbyist, was my Mary Kay business. And it was through the Mary Kay business that I learned how to go about using 4 hours a week to nurture your business. So if you go back to slide 6, yep, there you go, 4 hours a week to nurture your business. Now, I work more than 4 hours a week on my business. What I mean by the 4 hours a week to nurture your business is a lot of people say, I don't know how to get clients. They don't know where to go. How do I build a larger network? How do I build a community? And this is what you're going to be doing with that 4 hours a week. Okay. So if you go down to slide 7, the 4 hours a week are broken up into 1 hour for prospecting. Next slide, 1 hour for follow up. Next slide, 1 hour for connecting, and then next slide, 1 hour for training yourself and your team. Now, this system was used in 2020 very extensively. My company was hired by multiple multi-level marketing firms because they wanted to learn and have me teach people how you go about building out your multi-level marketing program, whatever product or service you were selling. And so many of these people had never worked for themselves before. They had no idea how to begin. And so I was like, okay, this is how you go about finding clients. This is how you go about doing follow-up. This is how you go about using network marketing skills. So those 4 hours a week are all about gaining business. What is it that's required so that you can gain business, so that you can stay in business? I mean, this is what we want, right? You want to be able to make your message stick with people, right? And so that's what that
Exactly.
is. Yeah, that's what that is. And so I didn't want to mislead people. That's why I say 4 hours a week to nurture your business, not that's all you're working. Yeah.
Am I on mute? I am on mute. I love that. So yeah, I love
You
that
get so
indeed.
excited.
And so yeah, so essentially it's because what I tell people is that marketing and sales, right, is ultimately the most important parts of your business, right? So I teach a university course, and literally the first class, I'm like, okay, students, what are the two most important parts of your business? People like finances, operations. Oh, this is no. Marketing and sales, right? Marketing and sales are the most important parts of your business, right? And so what Janine is talking about here today is how to get that to just 4 hours a week, right? Because first of all, we all need marketing and sales, but a lot of you might be, you're doing, you're on 10 networking groups, which is about 10 hours a week. And then you're maybe doing some advertising, connecting with some ad agency people, or doing it yourself, maybe because you're a solopreneur, or maybe you're doing it yourself. So that's another 10 hours a week. And then after that, you're probably messaging people on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or DMing people, right? So maybe it's another 5 hours a week. And then after that, you're posting stuff. That's another 5 hours a week, right? So we're already at 30 hours a week, right? So what you need to talk about here is how to get all of that down to just 4 impactful, effective hours. And before we get into that, can you talk about, Janine, take us way back, right? Because I'm assuming you probably weren't perfect at this all the time. I'm assuming you weren't like, maybe you were, I don't know. Let me know if you were. Let me know if you were. But I'm assuming you weren't. But if you weren't, maybe if you were. But what would you say are the top 3 pitfalls of solopreneurs, or even perhaps a time when you weren't so great at it that got you to a place where you said, okay, I'm going to get down to these 4 hours and these 4 things, and like, this is how.
Right. So I always say I am after progress, not perfection. And that is the number one thing I find with people is that they are so focused on perfection that they don't actually accomplish what they need to be doing with their business. And so it's like always, always, always go after progress, not perfection. And 70% is good enough. I used to say to my students, C equals diploma when I was a college professor. Okay. It's like there are times in your life where you were really pushed hard to make straight A's so that you would be that, world-class scholar, what have you. But there are times where getting to that 70% mark is good enough. Stamp it, send it out. The thumbnail would be there. And it's more important to have 70% content, like, getting to 70% with your content and shoving it out the door rather than making one piece of content perfect. And they've done studies on this. And because I'm an author, I'm very big on content. And so it's like there are times where we have a podcast that needs to go out, and I have somebody on my team who is a little bit more of a perfectionist than I am, and he's stressing and he's like, I don't want to take this out, I don't want to push this out, and I'm like, it goes out in 5 minutes, Brian, make it happen. And he's like, because he doesn't want to do it. But it's one of those things that's very, very important. And by the way, I made the sign just for you because I know you struggle sometimes when it comes to your just wanted
Love it. So essentially it's like, and I think it even reminds me of literally right before this call, folks, we were practicing sharing your screen and we couldn't make it in. And literally like with two streamer, was like, you got 1 minute and 52 seconds left. I said, okay, Janine, just send me the slides and I will just share it. And it worked out. And we managed to get in the last final second, folks. So sometimes you just go for what you can make happen and you just make it work, right? Right. Love it. And actually, want to shout out one of our viewers here. She shared her win is changing what could have been a hostile situation to a productive moment by staying calm and not reacting, right? And I think that's a little bit also of what you were talking about, Janine, of the progress versus not perfection, right? And so, the user here, who's anonymous, could have said, okay, like, this is just like awful, hostile, I feel a little, I feel icky, whatever it may be. And she turned that instead. She stayed calm. She said, all right, let's just move forward as positively as we can, right? And so, yes, absolutely. Love it. So what ultimately shifted your understanding of this, right? To increase your visibility. So you mentioned it's an hour on prospecting, an hour on follow-up, and then an hour on a whole bunch of other stuff as well, too. I forget them already. But ultimately, what do you say to that person who's saying, what do you mean just an hour? Right. I have 10, 20 hours in my week outside of my day job. Why can't I just do 5?
Right. And you could do that if you wanted to, if you want to burn out. And this is why I highly recommend that no matter what I tell you, you listen to Vanessa. Because yes, I am a thriving solopreneur, but I've actually grown my solopreneur business to where I now have 9 teams of people. There's 9 of us that work together. And I just want you to remember that when I started off, I only had Saturdays to do my side hustle. Okay. And I only could do it before my kids woke up. So from 8 a.m. until noon is when I had to really promote my business. And so I really cranked during that 4 hours, and I had a timer that was set for 55 minutes so that I could take 5-minute breaks between the hour. But it was like in 55 minutes, that's all I could do for my prospecting at that time. And then as soon as the next one was done, then I would move to the next hour. And then I'd have 55 minutes to do follow-up from the previous week's prospecting, 55 minutes for connecting on networking, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff. And then 55 minutes to coach my team. And my team and I met from 11 to noon every Saturday. And so that's how I built my multi-level marketing business that I had. But I also have the 8 gates. So I have multiple businesses that I run. But for my side hacks, when I was first starting off, you were asking about, you weren't always good at this. And I'm like, amen to that, sister. I was definitely struggling on some of this. But I can walk you through a few things that might be helpful. And that is if you go to slide 14, which is foundation. My father was in the Navy. And one of the things that we learned was that there are certain processes that need to be worked for. And that is the 4 hours a week is the foundation for advertising and marketing your business, connecting with people so that they buy your minimum viable product. Okay. So the next slide is then you create systems. That's part 2. Once you create systems that work with you, then you'll be able to move forward. We'll talk about those for prospecting and follow-up. I have systems I can share with you. Number 3 is next slide, routines. There are certain routines you need to get into. The 4-hour-a-week routine is what I'm talking about, but also the habits that you do. And that's the next slide, the habits that you do every single day. That's part 4. And these are the things that actually help you thrive as a business owner as well as a gardener, because you are literally, next slide, creating the very habits that will bring you success so that you will have a viable and thriving organization for your business. Next slide is it needs consistent effort. And if you do that, you'll be able to really build.
Love it. Especially that last part, consistent effort. may not be able to see that. Here we go. Bam. Consistent
There it
effort.
is.
Yes, yes, yes. And I want to tell
Because you
people,
don't, the reason I picked this particular slide is you don't get a manicured, landscaped, beautiful lawn like this overnight unless you spend an insane amount of money, right? But if you're building it over time, like this particular landscaped picture actually took the person 15 years to get it to this level. So, of course, they were consistently adding new plants, consistently building the brick wall. You see what I mean? You have to
Mhm.
build time, and eventually you'll have this beautiful business before you. So that's why I picked the pictures I did.
Love it, love it, love it. And it's so accurate, right? Because and maybe for those, hopefully, y'all have been listening and being around entrepreneurship space, but maybe those of you, this is the first thing you've ever heard that's entrepreneurial. But consistency, folks, consistency, right? And it goes back to that whole press over perfection. And the idea is that, I tell people when I'm helping them with their marketing strategy, it's like, okay, it's not about, whether or not you're doing 5 posts a day or 5 posts a week or 5 posts a year. It's about, okay, if you're going to choose to do 5 posts a day, you're doing 5 posts a day. If you choose to do 1 post a week, you're doing 1 post a week. And it's consistently on the same day. So everyone else is also getting used to it. If you're getting used to it, you're building up that schedule and that sort of muscle and habit. Look at that habit that Janine was just talking about in part 4, right? And so that you are able to put in that consistent effort for your thriving business. And maybe you're listening to this and you're just like, yes, but I've already been doing that and it's still not working. OMG. Progress, right? Step by step. And because you might be seeing people with the jet skis and the mansions, they didn't start out like that. They probably didn't start out like that. And so when it comes to their business, at least. So with that being said, it's really acknowledging, and it even goes back to the very beginning of the episode, what has been your win of the week, right? Acknowledging what is the progress that you have made, right? And why is this show called Entrepreneurship is a Marathon? Man, so many ties here. Why is this show called Entrepreneurship is a Marathon? Because, right, it is a marathon, right? You're not going to go from start line to finish line in 1 second. You go from mile 1, mile 2, mile 3, right? And each time you do it, you got to set your own pace. You do your own pace, but you consistently put it in effort, as Janine was talking about, in order to make that continue happening. Love it. Appreciate it. And so I know at some point in time you did mention, or you mentioned sort of like people not needing like a high-tech email sequencing, right, to do follow-up, et cetera, right? Let's talk about some of these systems that you talk about, right? Can you kind of elaborate on what you mean by this? Yes.
Okay, so if you'll go to slide 31 for me, please. We're going to talk about prospecting 2.0. I have a lot of business owners who are like, I just don't know where to get my clients. I don't know where to get my clients. And I just love sharing this. So if you go to the next slide, it's my 3-box system. So, you can tell how expensive this system's going to run you some big bucks. You just go and get these little pencil boxes and you label them box 1, box 2, and box 3. So you can go ahead and go through those slides and you'll see that I just got these pencil boxes. And then the next slide is the basket. Now, where do you put all those business cards? I know that you were doing networking before 2020 and that you have all these business cards. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to take them all out of all that. And the next slide, please. And you're going to stuff them into box number 1. And what you're going to do is for that 1 hour that you are prospecting, you're going to call every phone number on there. Now, I know certain people are like, oh my gosh, pick the phone and call somebody. I don't even know what to say. Well, most of the time it's going to go to voicemail because people don't know it's you, right? You're not in their phone. It's going to go to voicemail. And I highly recommend that you leave a voicemail and say, hi, so-and-so. It's really embarrassing to say, but I actually just happened to find your business card in my desk as I was cleaning. I wanted to reconnect. I wanted to find out how you were. I know it's been a few years. Definitely let's get together and contact one another on Zoom or however you want to do it. And then after you've done that, you leave a short message text. Hi, so-and-so. This is Vanessa Zamy, and I just wanted to let you know I happened to find your business card. I'd like to reconnect. And what you're trying to do is just get them onto a Zoom call. Why? Are they going to become, your next client? Who knows? Really, you're just wanting to connect with people. When you talk about prospecting, it's all about finding people who can get you in front of your people, right? So you don't call all these people hoping that they're going to be your next client or your next prospect. What you're doing is you're just letting people know, I'm in business. This is what I do. And I want to know, how can I help you? What is it that you need? Now, I have actually reached out to very incredibly popular people. I've reached out to people like Les Brown and those type of folks, and I've actually called up and said, "Hey, how can I help you? What's going on in your world today? What is it that I can assist you with?" And it was amazing to me how many people have not said that to these very busy people. And I was like, "You're kidding me." They were so busy trying to sell them on what they did, they didn't bother to ask those people, "Hey, what can I do to serve you?" And so that's what you're doing with this prospecting. And I know Vanessa has taught this and has educated you on this. So you keep listening to her on what she's talking about. She understands this process and figure out what's happening when you're on that Zoom call with people. Okay. So you're just going to spend an hour and you're going to go through as many business cards as you can. There are some days I only get through two. Why? The person picked up. And I went through my list of questions. Yes, I have my script written out so that I don't lose my place. And I go, "Hi, so this is Janine Bolon. You and I met. Gosh, I don't even know where. I'm embarrassed to say it. I mean, I own this. I am authentic." I'm like, "I was digging around my desk and I found your business card." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I don't keep business cards unless I'm impressed by the person. What are you doing these days? What's your passion project for 2022?" And I may only get two phone calls in that hour, but I have seriously connected with those people and they will remember me. We exchange contact information and I see how I can serve them.
Love it. I think one of our viewers here summed this up perfectly. She wrote, "Wow, this talk is packed with great ideas ready to use. Thanks." So yes, I think that pretty much summed up that entire section there. So if you missed it, folks, rewind. See, aren't you glad that this is on replay and you can listen again? Yes, rewind, listen to it again, and take notes in case you missed it. If you're on YouTube, you can slow down the speed. First, you got to subscribe at the bottom. Then you go back up, you slow down the speed, and there you go. Love it, love it. All right, fantastic. So I don't even know where to go from that. Like, where do we even go from that? That was beautiful. Okay.
No problem. We can go to the second one because that was just the first system. There's a second system that we can use. If you'll go to slide number 38 for me, please. Okay, this is the biggest one that I see that business owners do not use. And on slide 38, and our wonderful thank you to my lovely Vanna. I know it's Vanessa, but we're going to go Vanna.
We're adapting to the tech. All good.
That's right. Yep. And if you want to pop that slide up on its own, it's ask. Most business owners forget to ask, number one, for the sale. They forget to ask, number two, what can I do for you? And they forget to ask, number three, how can I best serve your community? These are the things that you are asking. Why? Because if you truly believe that what goes around comes around and that you really have a message to share, people will give you an opportunity to share that message. But first, you have to make sure it's a good fit for their community. And so I would never think of coming on to a podcast like this where it's entrepreneurship is a marathon, and then start talking about a different demographic of my books, right? I've written 12 books, but they're in 4 different demographics. I'm going to make sure that I cater my talk to the people that are listening and that I can best serve for Vanessa's community. So ask for those things. I also encourage you to ask for people's mailing address. Yes, you heard me call it snail mail. Ask for the snail mail address and then ship them a thank you card. Now, you've had this person's business card sitting there in your contact base for however long, and now you're connected with them. Thank them for spending time with you. Now, I know this is very old school, but you know what's fabulous? People get so addicted to my cards that I send out that when they move, they tell me so that my cards will follow them. If they don't tell me, that's what this slide's all about, is the fact that they didn't tell me, I got it back. And then I take a picture of the returned envelope. I go onto Facebook and I say, what did I do wrong? And what's amazing is like, oh my gosh, Janine, we moved. Oh my God, what's going on in your life? What's happening in your world? Talk to me. What is it? Well, how can I help you? Right? Because of that. So that's another area. Now, I ship out books for a living. So I have a lot of people's home addresses. but this is just another way. Direct mail marketing. I almost never use the cards to market. I use them always for appreciation, gratitude, and lifting other people up. If I catch you doing something nice for me, I will make sure you know I appreciate that. If I catch you celebrating on Facebook about something, I'll snap a picture of that and send that off in a card. So these are the ways that I stay connected with my community and let them know, hey, let's celebrate you, because each day that we're alive and we're breathing is a chance to celebrate.
It is indeed. It's a win in and of itself. It's its own win. Love it, love it. And you know what? Don't you wish we had more time here? So ultimately, what we're going to do, though, is we're going to follow up Janine's follow-up, right? So Janine just talked about how you can stay connected with your prospects and your leads and your clients and your customers, right? Janine, how can people follow up with you?
Well, we're going to share with you a link that will go directly to my free book, and it's at janinebolon.com and then / the Thriving Solopreneur book. And we'll get that pulled up for you. So if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, just scroll down below and you'll get it so that you click on it. It bypasses all the marketing and you can get your free digital book of the Thriving Solopreneur. It goes into details on the 4 hours a week. I know that we gave you a lot of information very quickly. It shows you my spreadsheets. It gives you reader bonuses, all of that. But the biggest thing I can say is even when you get my book, you march right back to Vanessa. You pay attention to what she has to say because she will help you build the systems on the foundation that my book can give you.
Love it. Fantastic. Awesome. Awesome. So for those watching on LinkedIn and Facebook, you have the links in the chat right now or in the comments. And then for those watching on YouTube, just open up the description to see at the bottom of the description the link to Janine's book. Yes. First of all, replay this to listen to all these systems again. Then after you're done with that, check out the book so you're taking more notes. Then after you're done with that, you hit me up and we talk about, let's figure out how to really make sure that you are balancing these hours into your schedule. You're not burning out and you're truly sticking to the habits that you need to develop and build up within the correct marketing strategy and business strategy for your business. Thank you again to our lovely, fabulous guest, Janine Bolon. And to everyone watching, we love you. We appreciate you. And we look forward to seeing you again on another episode next Tuesday of Entrepreneurship is a Marathon. Ciao to you soon.